Yeah. Wait, should we record this? Because I saw this on my feed and I was going to leave a comment and I saw your comment on it. And then I didn't even end up leaving my comment.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay.
Okay. When you start your business, no one ever prepares you for what's in store. So finding someone else who just gets it is sometimes the thing that can keep you pushing towards those big vision board business goals.
We're turning our Zoom coffee chats into a weekly unfiltered podcast for online business owners. There were so many good ones, we always wanted to record them and repurpose them for content anyways. And that's on being a social media manager.
I'm Jessica Sheehy.
And I'm Madeleine Digan. And this is
hashtag
managed. I think it's perfect.
I like it. I like it.
You know how I've been watching Lie to Me? Something I love and respect about this show is how detailed they are about the circa 2017, what am I saying? 2007 and 2008 Facebook interface and other technology. So like, seriously, they'll be like, oh, add this to our Facebook album, which who uses Facebook albums anymore?
Right.
But so it was making me feel nostalgic, which I think is fitting for today's topic and episode.
Yeah. Oh, bring back, maybe it's because we're definitely millennials. I mean, who's more nostalgic than millennials? Like, we have to be the most nostalgic generation to ever exist. Oh, yeah. But I like when shows are really consistent with, like in this case, like 07, 08 social media. So this is on my report, but anyway, I think to add into this because it is so silly, but I've been watching Hallmark Christmas movies, and in the new 2024 movies, 2023, 2022, they're bringing in more like, it has the same storyline every time. Mm-hmm. Like big city girl in New York or Chicago goes to small town and is, I don't know, working in a bakery, like goals, yes. But anyway, but the one I was watching last night, it was on Netflix, and it had like a business partner came into her candy shop, and he's like, I want to redo the website. I want to redo the logo. Oh my gosh. We need to like insert like screenshot of the website. I will go back and scrape the whole Netflix video just to pull it and the logo. I swear this website was built in 07 or 08 for a movie that came out, I think in last year. So 2023.
Oh,
I mean, I think it goes both ways. If you're going to be really consistent with being like showing the nostalgia and staying true to like a Facebook or, MySpace, like way back whenever the show's happening, like you need to also now
you need you got to fact check stuff. Like,
yes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like when the characters pull up their 2008, 08 Facebook, I think people forget how much the interface of Facebook has changed.
Yeah, a lot.
Like a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
And I miss it. I think them pulling it up, I'm like, I miss that Facebook.
Yeah, because it was simple, like, right? Like you were connecting with friends. You were like growing your friends list. You were sharing albums. Like, I mean, wow. Like that was like, now I guess it's equivalent to like a carousel, like a photo dump on Instagram. But it used to be like, no, you would upload every photo from your digital camera like into a Facebook album, and if you didn't, then how would we know that you had the best weekend ever? Yep. Like we wouldn't know.
And it was a time where our jobs didn't exist, but still, I feel like you have to have experienced that to truly, I don't know, just love. So, and that's not to say the new social media managers don't, but anyways.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think anything that is bringing us back, and we'll talk about it once we get deeper into this episode, features that need to come back that we miss. Maybe we'll touch on some that we would want to add or some that we never would want to see ever again. But yeah, I think it pretty timely as we get into the nostalgia of the holiday season.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get to our weekly reports. I'll kick it off. So this week I'm reading, speaking of nostalgia, I'm actually reading Alice in Wonderland. I don't know. It's just a story I like to revisit every now and then.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I'm eating the black bean brownies you actually recommended last week. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Brennan enjoyed them as well. He's like, I think we just found a new recipe. And I was like, well, Jessica found it. But yeah.
More than happy to contribute to the recipe book at the Digan household.
Yes. Then I'm playing Outer Banks Season 4, which so many thoughts. But to keep it short, I do feel I need to say this, and if you follow me on my personal Instagram, John B's monologue in the very last scene, it got me. And I actually was that millennial and recorded myself crying because I was like, this is going to be a moment. This is going to be a moment. This could be a trend because, you know, my mind's always thinking like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, then I'm obsessing over that Jessica is in town right now, and we're currently sitting in the same room and praying that this audio sounds great in your AirPods this week. Okay. Then I'm recommending a Newly for holiday photo shoots and holiday parties, and then I'm also in that same breath treating myself to a Newly subscription.
Yeah. Ooh, so good, so good. Well, I am also hoping that we are crisp audio, good video. We'll see. Who knows? We are just like, you know what, we're trying. So here's to season 2 for the podcast.
Yep.
So for my weekly report, I am reading, I think it's one of her newer books. I think it came out in September or October. But I just started reading The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. And I actually I didn't even see it pop up in my Kindle library, but I saw a couple of like book talkers who were talking about it. And they were like, oh, this isn't as good as other Frida books. And I hate when I see or hear advice like that. I don't know. I just want to make my own assumption. And I don't think I've ever read a Frida McFadden book that I didn't like. I'm not a huge fan of her short stories because I just feel like I want more. Like I need more character build up. But so far, so good. I'm eating, and I guess I could also say obsessing over hot honey. It's like, I mean, any restaurant you go to nowadays is putting hot honey on something. I think it's really great on pizza. It's probably my favorite thing. Playing Hallmark Christmas movies. I already said that in the beginning. Obsessing over Friendsgiving planning. So wink, wink. It'll be really shortly after this episode comes out that you'll see what we're talking about. Recommending, just since we're getting into fall, like almost winter here soon, my skin has been so dry, and I think the best moisturizer I've ever used is First Aid Beauty's Ultra Repair Cream. Like, I think it's always that one that, you know, you like your Old Faithful, like in your bag. Yeah. Like, to me, it's that. And I ran out of it, and I was like, oh, I have others. Like, it'll be fine. And I'm like, nope, we're not fine. So recommending that if you're looking for like a good moisturizer. I think it's clean, and it's a great price point. So yeah. I think great recommendation. And I'm going to treat myself to holiday nails. When I'm going to be able to fit it in over this weekend, we'll see. But I need to treat myself to holiday nails, especially, and I think I put this before I saw yours in Slack. So now I'm like, I'm definitely treating myself to holiday nails.
We were talking about it yesterday, and I felt like yesterday I was staring at my screen for, I mean, let's be real. We're always staring at our screen for like 8+ hours. So I was like, I need a break. And since we were talking about, I was like, yep, I'm going. I'm going. It's fine. Yeah. An hour to myself. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Should we get into this week's water cooler?
Yes.
Join us at the water cooler.
Let's hear a question from one of our listeners and see how we can help.
This week they say, hello. So formal. Given the new Instagram updates where the follower breakdown is not visible anymore, what other tools do you use to track the number of followers and unfollowers in a certain time period? Any recommendations?
Yeah. Have you seen this update in the analytics? It's there, but it's in, and again, like, I'm sure we'll talk about this in the topic. Any feature, any update, it's never consistent across accounts. But I have noticed this in a few of our client accounts where it doesn't show that breakdown of over, like, it'll tell you the current follower count and then the like percentage, like, you know, plus or minus like growth. And that's all it says. And then it has like a chart that shows, like, so if you have it filtered to show like over 7 days, it'll show you like, you know, the chart of over 7 days. And then you like have to click, okay, 1, 2, like you just to add it up. I don't know if it's like somewhere else in the insights that I just can't see. But for this reason, this is why I really love Later.
Same.
And I think it's great to have it also as a backup. I think one thing that so many people are always like going back and forth on are like, what are good tools to invest in? I think Later, hands down, one of the best tools. Like, not only for like planning out your content calendar for the month ahead so you can, you know, take upcoming holidays and, you know, whatnot off of work to the best that you can. Of course, minus those few manual posts that you'll probably have to throw up as a social media manager during the holidays. But the analytics is the other really big piece of that. And I think if you pay for the middle or the higher tiers of like Later's pricing plans, you get access to like even more data than the free account. And then you pay for the high one, you get even more data. And I just feel like as a business, like, I like to know that data of what's going on, like social savvy or hashtag managed podcast wise. But I also want to know that for clients too, because if it ever comes up as a question of, oh, what is the value of us doing Instagram, or what's the return on like this investment, you can really look at that data. So I think a tool as a backup and just using that tool like Later in general makes sense.
I literally this morning just told somebody they should use Later because she texted me, and she works for a PR firm and just got asked to be their social media manager, which a lot of PR firms like they do socials as well. Yeah. And she texted me what triggered. Why did I say trigger? Not triggered. Like the question she had. They had been using Meta to schedule all their clients' posts. Which if you're doing that,
wow,
you're a brave soldier.
Yes.
Because that could never be me.
Plus, it's so... Meta's, first of all, 1 week it's Creator Studio. The next it's Business Suite. The next it's who knows what it is this week.
Exactly. And so she was saying they have a lot of clients, and she had all the accounts on her phone, right? But she's like, I can't add any more, which, you know, because... there's definitely like workaways around that. Like you have to like log out of certain one, then log into, you know.
Save some logins.
Yes. But she was asking me for scheduling tool recommendations, and I told her Later for that reason, because she was also asking me the question about the Instagram stories scheduling, and I had to tell her, you know, like, yes, you can, but like you can't schedule the polls and any of that other stuff. But where I was going with that is, yes, Later, worth the investment, especially in 2025. But what I was also going to say about the followers is just, I don't know, like, how much emphasis do you guys put on followers? Because I'll track that each week and to show the growth, but really it's like an overview. I'm more curious to know how many followers do we gain in that month. But that's still one of the metrics I just don't really emphasize.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, because now we're recording this podcast. We're in November. We're in Q4. And I just think, and I like shout out to all my other social media marketers who are feeling this too, or even just freelancers, like solopreneurs, anyone providing a service. Q4, unfortunately, is the chopping block time, like for that. And so this is a conversation that Ryan, he does our numbers for the business. And so we always look at like year over year, because we just celebrated, like we're going into our 6th year. And so it's so funny, but Q4, and more specifically November, is a really tough month, like agency wise, because, and it makes sense, everyone's looking at 2024 budget. They're looking at 2024 growth and social media metrics, and they're looking at everything. They're probably looking at sales. They're probably looking at their revenue. And then always, I feel like organic social is the first to get cut. First to get cut. And this is a soapbox I will stand on forever, that And because the conversations I have are exactly the same, like with every client who is, and again, they're always drilling me with questions around follower growth. Follower growth. Okay. So this time last year, we had a client who left, and I typically, I mean, again, being an agency owner, like churn is so natural. Like it's just a part of the business. I had to learn at one point, like, never take it personal. And I don't think I have for a while. I think we've talked about this recently on the podcast. But this client left, and I took it so personal. So personal. And so I don't know if I like shared this story, but she sent me an email. The subject line, she added up. I can't remember if we worked together for a year and a half. I think a year and a half, like timing wise. So she added up a year and a half times the monthly package price. And that was the subject line. And it said that total spent on social media. So full disclosure, I don't remember the specific number, but over this time frame, like I think it was around like 18,000. Like I just remember seeing like that plus, you know, I don't know, 450, whatever it was. And it said spent on social. And in the email, she's like looking at her followers, and I want to say over, and again, I don't know the specific number on the top, like on top of my head. I think she was around like 13,000 followers when we started, and I think at this point she's at 15,000 followers when we started. So again, is it a crazy growth? No, but again, follower growth to me is so subjective on so many things. And then when I really look at her business, very niche offer. She's does a couple of different offers, but she's in the coaching space, B2B. She's working with other business owners, and her programs are very, very expensive. So her program, I don't know the exact dollar amount, but after the payment plan and, you know, all the bells and whistles, it's like a $50,000 program. $50,000 program. Now I'm in like a company chat in a couple weeks ago for a launch. She shares that I don't remember specifically the time frame of what the launch was. It was like a week, 2 weeks. It's like a 6-figure launch. Like I think it was maybe around like $250,000 that was made. Because again, $50,000 times X amount of people into this program. Okay. So of course she's looking at her data. To any of us, we're like, oh my God, like, could you imagine? Like, that's life-changing money to any like of us here listening. Like, so she's looking at her numbers of like growth over the year for that launch, you know, traffic during that launch, what came from stories, what came from the link in bio, what came from LinkedIn, what came from Facebook ads, what came from emails. And she does podcasting, she does network events, she meets people, she has conversations in DMs, because again, it's a very expensive product or offer. I mean, people buy it. She has a great offer. You know, I think an offer to me is, you know, someone's problem, you have a solution that to them is like a heck yes, like easy brainer. That's a great offer. And so that's what it was, regardless of how expensive the price tag was. So anyway, we have a conversation, and she's like, I expect more from social media if I expect to sell more. And I think for me in my head, when she's looking at like that specific launch, she's like, I don't see any specific sales coming from social media. And I'm like, you know, I beg to differ. I really beg to differ. Now, granted, on Instagram, we're posting, we're doing stories, all of this. Do you really think someone's going to click the link in bio, go to a link page, find a button, click it, read a sales page, click it, buy a $50,000 program? Like, that's not going to happen.
No.
Like, do you think they're going to see an Instagram story? They're going to see 5 stories back to back to back. The last slide says, hey, join the program. Okay, let me get my credit card for $50,000. You know, granted, there's payment plans and stuff, but it doesn't happen in that way. But for our strategy on social media, we're showing up every day for this 2-3 week period, talking about all the pain points, all the content that we could share to promote this program. And now, granted, you can't directly correlate, but you have to attribute some of that money. So anyway, all that to say, I think followers are always, because that was her biggest thing, was I have not grown. And now when I look at her account, she's had the same growth year over year, and it's been a few years since we've worked together. And I'm like, you're not going to get to that point that you in her industry, like she looks up to a lot of like really big speakers, and these people, like, they have massive teams. They're putting massive amounts of money into ads. And if you're not doing, if you're putting $500 into ads, and hey, maybe you're getting some traffic and maybe you sold one thing and you had a great profit, like that's the other thing too that I think, we both talk about. We don't focus on like paid ads, but a part of me is always thinking like, should I always add that on to organic social? Because when I work with clients and they look at organic results versus like paid results, like, why I don't do it is because no one ever has the budget. I mean, they barely have the budget to pay like our agency retainer. And again, our agency retainer could be like, I think people in our space are doing like 3-4x overcharging. So
yeah.
But again, it's all down to followers. Always.
I had 2 questions. You answered one of them because I was going to ask you if she did do paid ads, which
she did, but very little, very little. Like maybe like low, like I don't know the specific number, but it's somewhere between like $750 to like $1,500 throughout like a couple weeks span, which I don't think is a lot of money for paid ads.
No, and also where I'm like,
I think that's pennies.
Yeah, literally, and also a 50,000. Yeah, you should be like where it's like don't come for your organic social media girlies. Like we'll be the first to be like, hey, you maybe want to do some paid, but again, don't just throw pennies at it.
Yeah.
Let's talk real talk here. Yeah. Be for real, as the Gen Zs would say. Yes. Be for real. Yeah. And then, wait, there was something else I was going to say. Oh, the followers. I feel like this is also a conversation that I always come to you for too. Sometimes just to kind of also like, honestly calm my nervous system, because it is kind of traumatizing when you said that was the email subject line. I felt that. Yeah. Because I've definitely gotten an email subject line like that. And like, it is hard not to take it personal, like, but you just kind of like know where it's about to go, and you're just like, oh, yep, it's my fault, because they're looking for somebody to blame.
Yes, 100%. And I will say too, like, you guys have heard it here on the podcast, I don't have my work email on my phone. Yeah, I don't. And that email is why, because I was driving from Starbucks to a photo shoot for us, Social Savvy, and my whole mood the entire day shot. Oh, yeah. Shot. And I just then we were working with a photographer, and I'm like, here I am, not wasting, but I'm not giving my all, because my energy was just sucked at like 8 a.m. because I read that email. So till that day, I will not put my email back on my phone, because again, there's no need for that to happen. And even, I think the biggest thing that we can agree as organic social media marketers, like, there is not enough credit for like brand building and credibility that organic social media does. And that does not take time. Like, one thing, and not to sit here and like, kind of like toot our own horn, but I know so many, because I see it in the group, I see it on Instagram comments, but so many people are like, I love what Social Savvy is on Instagram. And to me, like, 1, it's a labor of love from our whole team, but 2, that's 6 years of consistency. Even when, like, I mean, we've talked about, like, there's been ups and downs over those 6 years, but it's been consistent. And that consistency, like, plays off, because we know, like, okay, organic, you have to be consistent. You have to put in the time. Yeah. But most of, like, the clients who've left, they'll look at, okay, organic's not working. We have to just stop. We have to stop what we're doing. Don't pour any more money into it. I don't want to put any more effort into it. But in reality, there's never a holistic approach to marketing in general. And this is one thing that we're about to do our like 2024 and 2025 like end of year planning meeting. And I think this was the same exact thing that I went through in my head last year. And we did massive improvements that have helped us out on so many ways. But now it's like, there's always things to fix in business and to evolve and make it better. But the biggest thing that's coming back is that holistic approach to marketing. And I think the biggest thing is that some of the clients that we work with, they are only putting like a few eggs in one basket. And I get like it's a resource thing, but if you don't put money into things, you're not going to get money from your audience, like, at the end of the day. Like, if you don't put money into hiring an organic social media manager to make your Instagram way better than your competitors, your audience are going to go pay your competitors.
Yes. And okay, tell me if you agree with this too. I also think that organic social media marketing, like we get the rep of like just Instagram, where I'm like, you do realize that your organic social media marketers could probably also know Pinterest. They also know Threads. They also know Twitter. They also know YouTube. That's not to say we all specialize in those things, but we're definitely going to be able to give you a strategy. And we're not going to tell you need to be on there right now. You know, but we're going to throw that idea out there because it's like sometimes, okay, so you see yourself not really growing on Instagram anymore. Okay. Then guess what? It's time to step up the game, maybe on email, maybe on your website. To bring, and again, it's a full circle of like, to help you get more people to your Instagram. Or wherever you want them to be. Like, which is ultimately like buying from you. So.
Agreed. There's so many thoughts. I know we could be on our organic marketing soapbox for so long. But should we dive into let's keep on the note of organic marketing. What's on our feed this week?
What's on our feed this week? From trending topics to interesting conversations, here's what's been catching our attention lately.
So, okay, I know you mentioned this. I think maybe a few weeks ago, the Brianna Chicken Fry Zach Bryan drama. And when you mentioned it at the time, she came out and was just like, yeah, I found out via a text message or via Instagram.
Story. Story.
That they had broken up. Well, since then, she obviously had a whole episode on the BFF podcast. And I've never listened to this podcast, okay? Like, but I love Barstool. Like, Brennan loves Barstool. I love Dave. What is his name?
Dave Portnoy.
Yes, like I do.
El
like,
President.
I know, like he gets some, like he gets some bad rep, but like I'm sorry, he's still a Swiftie, which just tells me, like, we can all be friends, you know? So anyways, I am dying laughing at so I listened to that podcast episode, and you know, those men have her best intentions and are like the big brothers who are like, we are coming for you. We are going to ruin you. And the fact that he sent him one of his champagne bottles with his name on it, I was like, yes.
No, that was, I mean, obviously, you know, if you know anything about that, like, it's so interesting.
It is all over my Instagram, my TikTok, and I'm living for it because I think it's hilarious.
It is. It's hilarious. I think the whole Dave and Josh, like, I mean, because they've done that podcast for a few years. I think it started either during COVID or like 2020, 2021. And I listen to it here and there. Sometimes they have really good guests, and so I'll listen to those interviews. Other than that, I don't really keep up because honestly, I can't keep up with the stories. I don't know they talk about a lot of TikTokers, and I feel like I don't know them, and so And then like if Ryan watches it with me, I definitely can't explain it to him because I have to explain anything we're watching and consuming. I'm like, we're listening at the same time, like But I thought it was so good. The diss track that they did was hilarious. And wow, so like well produced. But it's definitely here for the drama. I saw on my feed yesterday that Dave said, I think it was on another recording of BFFs, that they're gonna do like a Black Friday drop. I guess I don't know if she's gonna do, because she has her like another podcast. I don't know if she's gonna do that merch or create more merch. Who knows? It's probably gonna be like Zach Bryan diss merch. But 100% of the profits are going to Brianna Chicken Fry, which Dave was like, it's not going to equal the 12 mil that you turned down, but which to me, that was just wild that it was that much money.
Icky. Yeah. Okay, here's a question. Would you have taken the 12 mil?
If I were in her exact position, honestly, no. I don't think I would, because I think I agree 100% with her. I loved her transparency, and Dave's and Josh's too, on like the moral conflict of, do I take it, do I not take it? Like, to me, that was so real because for, if she came out and was like, I never wanted to take it, like, I mean, like she said, into any of us, that's life-changing money
Yep.
for her family. Like, so, but I think there's just too much like negative connotation attached to it. And you just know like a number that big, like,
I think she's going, like, it's one of those things where when she was like, I was somebody before you,
Yes.
I'm going to be somebody after you. And I'm like, exactly. And I think you're just going to reap those benefits even more. Like, who's to say? I mean, and I think they made a nod to this too, where they're like, obviously with this whole drama, they're like, yeah, we got a lot of new followers and things like that, but they're like, that was never the point. That was never why we wanted to put this out. Like, we're just trying to let you all know this man is the smallest man who's ever lived. Like, goodbye.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah. And I'm here for the Zach Bryan Morgan Wallen drama.
Oh my gosh.
I'm here for it. I'm team Morgan Wallen.
Oh yeah.
Like,
for
have
sure.
been, but now I'm like, it's solidified.
Oh yeah. And also these microphones are making me like just wanting to enter just to test my vocal cords. I'm not going to. But anyways.
No. And I'm definitely not, because we'll need some auto-tune on that for sure. Okay.
Yes.
So on my feed is the Cicely and Samantha pajama brand that they created for the Mems. So much has come out from them launching this brand. And I know you sent me a really awesome video around someone just talking about they created the brand for them. And so they created a pajama brand. I don't really know too much about like apparel manufacturing. And I to be honest, unless I feel the fabric, I couldn't really guess if it's good quality or not. But from what everyone says, it's not. It's like a cheaper fabric material blend that you could find at like, nothing wrong with it, but like a TJ Maxx pajama set for $12.99, $14.99. And they're selling it they were selling it for $98. And they reduced the price because they listened to their audience by $12. But my biggest thing with this is I think there's obviously influencers create product lines. They do collabs with brands. Some collabs make sense, some don't. But they create their own brands as well. And one brand that I actually have been thinking about shopping from that I haven't yet is Nudes. Nuuds. Have you heard of that brand? It's kind of like, I'm sorry if I'm going to say this if it's controversial. I think it's like a Skims dupe. It's like basics, like t-shirts and loungewear. But it was created by Darylyn Dinner, who is one of those like Instagram, like kind of mommy bloggers, OG mommy bloggers now turned just like, creator.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's a company, right? Like that is creating product from what I'm seeing, because I see now, because I want to order and I see so many hauls from people on social media. So I feel like it's a great product. I think the price point's decent. Again, I think it's close to Skims. So I think, if it's good quality, then it makes sense.
Their website's really cute too. So.
Yes. I think their branding, their marketing, 10 out of 10. Love it. So I think that makes sense. I've seen so many like influencers create like, coffee companies. It's like, okay, you drink a cup of coffee every morning and now you make a coffee company. And I'm always so skeptical because I'm like, are you drinking your coffee every morning? Like, or did you just create a company? You found some beans, you packaged it with a cute logo. Like, I'm always so hesitant because I'm like, what's new? I think I've known a couple of like TikTokers who have done that. But then you look at the flip side of Emma Chamberlain coffee, iconic. Like, she focuses on her like iced coffees and like that's her brand. And like, I can just picture her like YouTube videos, like making her coffee, laying in bed. Like that's very, Emma Chamberlain. But anyway, so for Cicely and Samantha to create a pajama company that is overpriced, their target audience are very loud. And the comments on Instagram, the comments on TikTok, and they are influencers who are known for deleting comments. And I just feel like, to me, that is not okay. It creates a false facade of your audience, and it just really solidifies that you don't care about what they say. Like, to me, I would create this brand. I would listen to what my audience says. Okay, they don't like the material. They don't like the price point. Go find a different manufacturer. Like, change it. You can. You have all this power, all this sway, all this money that you can do that. So go change it. Make a company that people want. And I think my last thing that I'll add to it is I really think that this is a hobby on top
100%.
of, like, in my head, there's always a difference on a business versus a hobby that brings in a little bit of cash here or there.
And that's hashtag managed. No, but so this also is on my feed, but you all know that Avery Woods is my favorite influencer, and they had to bring my girl Avery into this. And I was like, So somebody commented on their original post and was like, I just don't understand why, like, this Avery brought out something. She had a sweatsuit, okay, that she brought out a few months ago, but she collaborated, and I can't remember the brand, but it was a legit brand that is known for their sweatsuits, okay? And it was a collaboration. They set the price. Avery couldn't set the price, right? Mm-hmm. And it was similar pricing, but I asked Jessica this the other day, and so this is my question to you too, dear listeners. How much would you pay for a sweatsuit versus pajama set? Because both Jessica and I agreed I would probably pay up to $100 for a sweatsuit. Mm-hmm. I really would.
Yeah.
Pajamas, that better be silk as butter. Mm-hmm. Butter.
Yes. Okay. It better be the best thing I'm putting on my body that I want to keep on.
And I'm gonna wear it outside. Yes. Like, I'm gonna wear it as a work top, like
yes.
Okay, like a blouse.
Yep.
But so somebody commented that, like, I just don't understand why Avery didn't get as much heat. So this other creator was like, she did this whole thing in conclusion where it was like, listen, Avery even came out when this collaboration happened. She's like, I know it's expensive. Mm-hmm. I can't set this price. Mm-hmm. Whereas Cecily and Samantha could, mm-hmm. because this is their brand and their hobby. Yeah. And it's just like, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great point. And it just shows, because I think the other piece of content that I've seen from Cecily and Samantha too, like, they both create, I think they both have families of four kids. And then they're both married, because I think they're like sisters-in-law.
And are they Mormon or no?
I don't know, actually. Okay. I don't know. Yeah,
Not that that matters. No,
I don't know. I don't know if they're like part of Mom Talk or, you know, maybe not every Mormon mom is Mom Talk, but yeah. But I think they've shared content recently that people have highlighted, like, they're like, oh, like, you know, because they go and they do these, like, massive grocery hauls, right? Mm-hmm. And I think one thing that their audience has been so vocal about is, like, groceries are expensive. Like, we're not all going every week and going all out and going to Publix and buying all of the things that our kids are, like, asking for, that we want. Like, do we want to? Yes. But in this economy, no. So I think that's just where they're a little out of touch with their audience. And I know they have teams, because I see content from, like, Cecily's personal assistant. She always, like, does a day in the life as a personal assistant to Cecily. And that's always on my For You page. And so, again, they have teams that work for them. They probably have management companies as well. Like, read the comments. Know your audience. And when my last thing, I promise, that I'll add is, when I looked at their website, honestly, I was just very disappointed. Like, I am not a web designer, but I think as a marketer, I have a good eye for, like, what a website needs. And to me, this looks like, okay, we started this company. We didn't hire a Shopify developer or designer. We're just going to throw it all up on a template. There's really no brand. There's really nothing that we're building upon here. Yeah, we're going to invest in, like, a photo and a video shoot. I think that's great. Even the e-commerce photos, like, the clothes are wrinkly, and it's like, okay, you want me to spend $98 on a piece of pajamas? That's not worth that. And it was just, I don't know, very, very disappointing. So,
okay, wait, I have one last question. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the brand name for the Mems?
I don't love it, but I don't hate it. To me, I don't think it's a pajama company. Like, to me, I feel like it's like a photo book, memory book, scrapbook company. Like, I don't think pajama company.
And I to me, it's not a good look with all of this, like, immediately after it came out, because to me, for the Mems, it's kind of like for the gram. Like, you're just doing it for the image.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like,
yeah,
that's not authentic at all.
Okay, I think the last thing I'll add is because I read on the website the mission or behind the company, and they shared that they wanted a solution for families for Christmas pajamas, right? And so I get that connection to the brand and for the Mems, but personally, and maybe it's just me because I'm super picky, but I would love to do like force Ryan into some matching Christmas pajamas. But that being said, I am personally not going to buy a graphic t-shirt for Ryan and pants that somewhat match what my set is. To me, that's not matching. I feel like there's so much more opportunities to create a product line that can be kind of customized. I can't think of like athletic wear does this all the time, right? They have collections, and it's like a collection of athletic wear in a color. Like, do that for pajamas for the family. And I think the last piece of that is they say it's size inclusive, which I really do hope it is. I think that's awesome. But they don't have a sizing chart on the website. So great, it's size inclusive. I think that's so important for any clothing company in 2024 and beyond. But there's no sizing chart. So how is someone going to understand? So to me, it just seems that they launched it quickly. They should have really thought this out before they really launched it. And I feel like there needs to be better improvements for it, or it's going to phase out. And unfortunately, it's going to be sad that people are going to be left with pajamas in their closet that they might not ever wear, but they're like, why did I drop so much money on this? But again, the influence. And people with influence need to be responsible.
Yeah. And it's the e-commerce pictures for me.
Yes. Yeah, it's the wrinkles. Like, come on. Like, I mean, gosh, like a kid could have like gotten the wrinkles out with their hands. Like, you didn't need to go all like full out if you didn't want to invest in like, okay, let's steam it. Like, crazy idea. Who would have ever thought to? So that's also interesting to me, and it makes me wonder, like, who was the photographer? Like, there's no way a photographer would look at the clothes and be like, okay, this is fine. Like, they would want their work to be represented. So it feels very pieced together. Like, okay, we need to get this launched before Black Friday so we can sell it. Like, it's all about the money grab.
And we all have clients like that. And
yeah.
That is you're on our feed.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Should we talk about social media features that need to come back since we are in our nostalgic era?
Quizzes on Instagram stories. That, and again, maybe you still have that feature, but I feel like I've seen on almost all my client accounts, like, it's not there anymore. It's just the poll.
Right.
And I miss the whole vote, you know, where it's like you would vote or whatever. That's the other thing. Okay, wait. No, I'm thinking of two different things. So I miss also when the polls had it like in green and red, where you would maybe say like no in red.
Yes
in green. Like, you know, I miss that.
Yes.
But also the quizzes, because that was such a fun way to it was just very interactive. Like, I actually feel like I had a lot of great results when I used quizzes.
Yeah, agreed. Because it's a different, and I don't think I've seen it either, because I feel like I've seen like the creator's account has been like, oh, we've updated the poll. It's like, okay, well, I do like having multiple poll options. I think it would be cool to have like a 3 or 4 response poll, and then in my head, like call it like a this or that, like a green, green or red. I think that could be fun. But and I know a poll will tell you the results, but no, I think the quiz is just so much better because you can gamify it a little bit more than you can with like a regular poll.
Yes, and because one time, you know how websites will have the quizzes, and it's like if you vote mostly A, mostly B, mostly C, mostly D.
Yeah.
It took a lot of work, but I did do that with some accounts. Like where it's like if you answered mostly A, then you're this.
That's fun.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So bring it back, Instagram, okay?
Yes. Yep. The other thing that I think needs to come back, and this is so old. I mean, like, I'm pulling from MySpace, guys. I like really went deep in the vault here. Like, my beginning social media years were like, I remember when I like first really like, I don't know, was like learning about computers or whatnot. Like, my cousins were all like showing me like AOL, and they were so cool. So I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna do this too. No idea like what I was doing. Then MySpace, and then of course like the OG Tumblr days. Tumblr still exists, but it's not
the OG day.
it's not the same interface. We talked about Facebook's interface, Tumblr interface, but okay, let me actually get to my point here, which I loved the days of MySpace where not the song. You guys are gonna be like, oh, Jessica wants a song. I
really do though.
I think a song. I like song and then playlist.
Yeah.
Like playlist is what I'm like. I can curate a playlist. I mean, why not do like a Spotify integration on social media? That could be fun. But I liked when you could like update the way your profile looked. Like, oh, could you imagine if we could like brand our profiles? Like we would immediately do it like for clients when we jump on. Like,
and no, I think that is a thing because Taylor Swift is out here with getting Instagram to do cool things for her, and I'm like, okay, Taylor, but like, can you give the social media girl like I have you show me that, and now I want that for my client.
It's like, okay, it can be done. So why do
who do I need to talk to?
Yes.
Who do I need to talk to?
Yeah, agreed. I think I've said this before, but I also want like the top friends, like your top 8, your top 16, your top 4, like, again, MySpace days. I just feel like one, it would be so fun to have that I think it's an awesome idea for brands, like highlight their brand ambassadors. Also some brands who, their employees are like the face of the content. They're in all the reels, the TikToks, the stories. Like, let me find their personal, like, I think it could just be a really fun way to help grow. And also too, like, I think it would just be fun too. I can put like all the people that are, my top connections, like in my top friends. I think it just really goes like the extra mile of like community on social media. So we need to bring it back. If we're still going to be so prominent on our friends list and our follower accounts and who we're following, let's bring back the top
okay
friends.
Yes. And then tell me your thoughts on bringing back the swipe up feature, only this time around. Can we stop with the whole you have to have 10K followers, because that's just annoying. And also any feature that Instagram brings out moving forward or whatever, and I actually feel like they have gone away from that. But the fact that it even started with that, where it's like, here's your reward, here's your treat. I don't why.
I miss the swipe up. There's just something about you're looking at like Anthropologie stories, and it's like, okay, swipe up to shop this look, or shop the collection, shop the lookbook. Like, I just think it's so much better than a link sticker. I mean, and to this day, people put a link, like the URL, as the link sticker itself, and I can't click that. Like, I can't click to that website. Let's customize it. Let's put something fun, like even something beyond like tap here. Like, okay, nothing makes me not want to click it than that call to action. But yeah, I think the swipe up, and don't limit it to the follower count.
Okay, and then I have one more, and this is truly the graphic designer in me, but you used to be able to, so the question sticker.
Yeah.
You used to be able to like change that color to be like on, like, where it's like you could like scroll over whatever. No, now it's just the ugly like black, white, hot pink, orange, lime green. What I even think they got rid of yellow, and that when the Buzzing Blonde was still yellow, I was like, where'd the yellow go?
Yeah. I mean, we can't lose yellow, but that's a good one. That's a good one, because no one wants just a very generic. Yeah.
Okay, what about features that should exist?
Okay, I feel really strongly about this one, but I think that threads should be on Instagram. I just think first of all, Instagram, you're already recommending that I go look at these threads. And honestly, every time I see it, I click on it because I like,
Yes.
it's always one where I'm like, oh, I want to see what they're posting, or I want to read the whole thread. And then it's like, your phone's like throwing you into the Threads app. And I'm like, dang it, why did I fall for that yet again? But I think it would just be so fun to have like a Threads tab. Like you have your Reels tab, you have your Tag tab, have a Threads tab. I think it would be so fun. Show it in the news feed. Like, I mean, you can share threads to stories, right? But like, I don't know, it would just make it so much better to kind of connect the two. So let's put Threads on Instagram. Do we really need a second app?
Right. No.
I mean, it's not a second app, but like, to Instagram.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, and then mine is... Actually, it's not just mine. I know that this is every listener, every social media manager, marketer listening to this wants this, and that is to be able to schedule our stories with the polls, with the question sticker, with the links. Just come on.
Yes. I will see that, and I will add. I want to also schedule Reels. Like through later. Like I need this like technology through later. So I don't know, maybe this is not a social media feature, it's a social media tool feature. But I want to be able to schedule Reels with everything that, audio, trending audio, like anything I want to add on to. Yes, text, yes. What? Come on. Let's work on that integration. I know we could do it. Like we could put our smartest people in the world in a room and they could figure it out.
So meta, so Instagram, like hit us up.
Yeah. I think, I mean, we've talked about this before, right? Like every social platform is always updating something or doing something new. And I don't know, half the time it's like, did we really ask for this? Like, where do they get their insight on like what people want to see? That's what I'd like to know.
Same.
Yeah.
And to be a fly on the wall when the planning, like their 2025 planning meeting of like, what features are we going to roll out this year?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to hear what your features would be, because I think that would be really fun. So let us know on Instagram at #managed, or you could call in to the hashtag hotline and share what your feature would be. And it could be anything. I mean, we talked about how I would update later, how we'd update Instagram, different things we'd bring back. Yeah, we'd love to know. What would you do to bring back any social media features that just need to come back? They're gone and we miss them. Or anything that we wish could exist if we could create anything with a magic wand. Or if we had Taylor Swift powers for Instagram, like what could we do?
Well, I think that is a wrap on today's episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you liked it, be sure to give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening, and we will catch you next week on the airwaves.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you made it this far, I think we've officially become internet besties. You can always call into the hashtag hotline and say hello, leave a review, or ask your burning questions.
Make sure you follow, rate, and review the podcast wherever you're listening from. Subscribe to the Social Club newsletter for our weekly email, and shoot us a DM over at #managed on Instagram, letting us know what your biggest takeaway was from this episode.